Candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Gunning for the end zone. Has Jalen pulled. Caught. Touchdown.
Let purple reign.
Gets to the edge. The 10, the 5, the nail in the coffin.
This Saturday, UW heads to Corvallis for a matchup with the Oregon State Beavers.
He's coasting in. Up the right sideline.
Kickoff is at 4:30.
A 92-yard touchdown pass.
Listen all season long on your home for Washington football. The Washington Sports Network from Learfield.
There's danger out there. It lurks on highways and quiet neighborhood streets. It's more likely to kill you than a shark, and more terrifying than the biggest snake. Distracted driving claims lives every day. Every notification, swipe, social post, video, or selfie while driving risks your life. So while you might think public speaking or the zombie apocalypse is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Online at myclallamcounty.com. Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles, Squim. Radio Pacific Station.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. The U.S. and China working to jumpstart relations with high-level talks happening now between President Biden and China's Xi Jinping. Both leaders spinning off from the APEC summit in San Francisco for their first talks in over a year.
Chinese President Xi Jinping pulled into the gravel driveway of Filoli Mansion made famous in the TV show Dynasty in Woodside, California. Xi was met by President Biden. They shook hands. Inside, Xi was greeted by Secretary of State Antony Blinken and advisors. President Biden kicking off the meeting, saying,
"We have to ensure that competition does not veer into conflict."
President Xi told Biden the two countries must respect each other. Alex Stone, ABC News.
FBI Director Christopher Wray and Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas testified at a House hearing today, detailing the threats they say facing the U.S. both at home and abroad. Wray says the October 7th Hamas attacks in Israel and the war that followed have raised the threat level and targets of Jewish and Muslim Americans.
Given those calls for action, our most immediate concern is that individuals or small groups will draw twisted inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks here at home.
Wray urged Congress to reinstate the FISA rule that allows law enforcement to track terror groups. The Israel-Hamas war now centered near a major medical complex in North Gaza. IDF says it's found evidence during their raids that Hamas was using the Al-Shifa hospital as a command center above and below ground. Doctors at the hospital, meantime, tell ABC News 43 patients have died in the ICU due to lack of oxygen supplies and report ground battles between Israeli forces and Hamas continue. A warning for dog owners about a mystery illness affecting pets nationwide. Vets say they're seeing an increase of cases for dogs coughing, sneezing, and acting lethargic. You're listening to ABC News.
You know when you wake up and your mouth feels gross and you just can't wait to brush your teeth to get that clean, fresh feeling again? That's exactly how millions of Navage users feel when they use powered suction to rinse out their noses every day, just like brushing their teeth. Once you're able to breathe deeply without congestion, you never want to be without it. That's why so many people rave about Navage, with over 100,000 online reviews. Feel the Navage difference for yourself. In less than a minute a day, you'll feel immediate relief from seasonal allergies and congestion after the very first use. Navage will also help you sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier, naturally, without drugs. Start breathing clearly again with Navage. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, Target, CVS, Rite Aid, and online at Navage.com. Navage. Navage. Clean nose, healthy life.
During today's House Homeland Security Committee hearing, lawmakers heard from the heads of the FBI and DHS about worldwide threats, including measures that the agencies are taking to stop illegal drugs at the southern border. In his opening statement, Committee Chair Mark Green of Tennessee accused the Biden administration of getting rid of necessary policies.
People tested the system, were released into the country, called home, and millions more came. A lot like a college town bar that doesn't card. Before long, they have a line out the door.
Biden officials stress they are concerned by any volume of unidentified people coming into the U.S. The Department of Education overhauling its widely used college financial aid form.
Known as FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid is the country's universal college financial aid form, and it's getting some long-awaited improvements. It'll be streamlined with less than 20 questions for students to fill out, taking less than 10 minutes versus the current form with more than 100 questions that hasn't been updated since the Reagan administration. Department of Education officials say the overhaul is an attempt to make the form more accessible for low and middle income families. It goes live December 31st. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
A new report from the CDC says tuberculosis cases, or TB, increased in the U.S. by nearly 6% between 2021 and 22. California, Texas, New York, and Florida account for half of all those reported cases. This is ABC News.
Build the custom home of your dreams with Adair Homes. Take advantage of their limited time offer of 4.875% interest rate with a 5.31 APR when you finance with Adair Financial Services. Visit ADAIRhomes.com to find out more. For well-qualified buyers, other restrictions apply. Visit AdairHomes.com for additional disclosures. Equal housing opportunity. Adair Financial Services, NMLS number 4586.
Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Olympic Garage Door, serving the community since 2008. We have a new showroom between Sequim and Port Angeles, and it's open to you Monday through Friday. We're dedicated to providing the highest quality customer service. For our residential and commercial customers, mention this ad and get $20 off your next garage door service. Not valid with any other offer. Come see our brand new showroom, Olympic Garage Door, located at 259-403 Highway 101 in Sequim.
The Clallam Co-op in Sequim and KONP Radio want to give you a chance to see Blake Shelton live on his Back to the Honky Tonk Tour. Blake will be at the Tacoma Dome Friday, March 15th, and Clallam Co-op is the only place you can enter to win 2 tickets to see him. 2 lucky winners will each win 2 tickets to see Blake Shelton live. But remember, the Clallam Co-op in Sequim is the only place you can enter. Enter every day. Drawing will be held Friday, December 1st. So enter today. The Back to the Honky Tonk Tour is presented by Kubota. KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Makah tribal leader Nate Tyler announcing his campaign for the State House of Representatives this week. He'll seek the seat currently held by State Representative Mike Chapman. Chapman is stepping down from that seat and will run for the state Senate next year. Tyler is a Marine Corps veteran, served in the First Gulf War and in Somalia. He was born and raised on the Makah Indian Reservation and was one of the youngest members to serve on the tribal council, including serving as the elected tribal chair.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Partly cloudy this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 47. Northeasterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies again tonight. Lows level off around 35. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 46. Temps near average Friday and Saturday with highs in the upper 40s. Chance for scattered showers Saturday. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 47 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome to the program. I'm going to spend the first part of the show today with an update on what's going on with Peninsula College. About once a month, we get Susie Ames in. She's the president at Peninsula College, and lots going on. They're well into the fall quarter, and some announcements of things to come as well that we're going to be talking about here. So, Susie, it's great to see you again. Thanks for coming down.
Always good to be here. Thanks.
All right, so let's start with the electric vehicle auto repair. This is kind of a little bit of an update from when we last chatted. January, it's back.
We are coming back in January.
So fill us in on what's going on with auto repair.
Yeah, so those folks who might remember Peninsula College closed its auto repair program, I think 2019, 2020, somewhere around there, with a lot of consternation from our local auto repair folks and auto dealerships. We're coming back in a really great way with an electric vehicle emphasis. So students will learn combustion engine repair and electric vehicle repair.
And that was, as we've talked in the past, I mean, you actually did an outreach with those dealers. This is what they need.
Yeah, they designed the curriculum. Yeah. And as you know, they're desperate for workers. So they designed the curriculum in what we call short stackable certificates. So someone can come into our program, literally go to school for 2 quarters, 6 months, and go out and get a job in the field, with the hope and the intention that they will continue coming back to school and getting the next certificate and then the next certificate while they're working and earning a paycheck in the industry.
Because the good part for the industry, they want to be able to get these people plugged into jobs as quickly as they can, and also to continue. I would imagine that's a bit of the skin in the game the local industry has.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you come in and you show good work skills and you show up on time and you work hard, your employer's going to invest in you, right? I mean, the chances are high. So you'll be able to continue working and be supported to go to school. And just learn the next level of technology, because obviously there's a huge range from learning how to change an oil to changing a transmission.
And this isn't your grandma's car anymore.
Right.
Before that.
They're computers on wheels.
Signing up, how many spaces? I mean, give us some details. When can you register now for this?
Very soon. Registration will open in just a matter of weeks, but it's not too soon to come in and meet with an advisor and apply for admissions and get your financial aid paperwork sorted out. So it's not too soon to come in and get started.
All right.
And 25 slots. So
that's it. Okay, so 25 slots. So if you're interested, you're best to get on it.
Yeah, it's going to be a really in-demand program, I think.
All right, so that's coming. All right. Now, this is we talked about this last time you were in, but this has to do with the foundation. We want to get people updated because you're trying to why don't you tell people, explain why this $1 million mark of fundraising is so important for the Peninsula College Foundation.
Yeah, so for the past couple of years, the Peninsula College Foundation has been striving to raise $1 million to create an endowment. So for those folks who don't know what an endowment is, that $1 million gets locked up into perpetuity, and we get to spend the earnings from it. And that's an amazing gift for a college president because I get all of the profits from that, the revenue from the investing in the stock market, for unrestricted dollars for the college to spend on new programs, on new technology, on things that the state doesn't fund us for, with no restrictions. So it's really, when you talk about meeting the college's greatest need, this would be a fund dedicated to allowing us to be responsive.
It could really make things nimble for you in some ways. We've talked many times, all of these programs, you have to hinge it on some sort of other funding that's there and that sort of thing. And that's why oftentimes there's a bit of a delay to get something launched.
Yeah, I mean, the state of Washington does not fund us to the levels that we hoped they would. They don't fund new program development. We have to find money internally and with the generous support of donors and grants. So to have a fund in perpetuity would last literally forever, to be able to generate unrestricted dollars is literally something I've never heard of at a small college.
But my next question, is there any other college of this size that has something like this?
Probably, but not that I know of. Probably not in Washington State.
So Peninsula College, once again, will be very unique in a sense.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
The big colleges, they've got unrestricted endowments.
We're talking about billions of dollars. There's been a lot of that kicked around.
But as the second tiniest community college in the state, this would be an astronomical gift for us. So there is a very generous donor that is matching money to allow us to get to that $1 million mark through December 31.
Because you're very close.
We are.
Tell us, so this is a $60,000 match, essentially.
Right. Yeah, because we're about $120,000 away. Yeah. And so with the $60,000 match, you would not only get your personal money doubled, we get that $1 million mark before the year ends.
But the caveat is, by the end of the year, this match goes away.
This generous donor is putting the match on the table through the end of the year to garner some energy and excitement and attention towards it.
And here's the other part, too. Maybe you alluded to this. There's no fees with this. I mean, this was the beauty of this, is it is all 100% going into the foundation and students.
Yeah. Every dollar that's donated to the Peninsula College Foundation for any reason is fee zero. We do not charge a fee, and that's pretty rare.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that probably we talk about other colleges. You're not going to find that so much, maybe.
It depends on, maybe this fund has a fee and this one doesn't.
Right.
But certainly other types of organizations have fees that PC does.
The foundation does tremendous work up there. I mean, it really does. So we've talked last time about just the amount of scholarships and things that it has done over the years that have allowed a lot of local students to even attend Peninsula College.
Yeah, we've given away nearly 200 scholarships this year already. We're not done. And I think, again, I know we've talked a lot about the beauty of being in a small town where we are the college, and our community is so supportive of the college because they get it. They understand that these are our kids we're producing. We want to get them to college. These are our adults. We want to go back and get them retrained. So there's a real sense of loyalty, which I think is a huge contributor to making the foundation so successful and therefore making the college successful.
All right. So if somebody, and any size donation gets matched. I mean, if someone ponies up $100, it makes it 200.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
It all matters.
So just contact the college if you're interested. Is the best thing.
Peninsula College Foundation.
Okay. And let's get $60,000 through the door so we can make that 120 and get Susie's endowment in place. I won't call it that, but I just think when people realize just how nimble that can be and how effective you can be with that unrestricted money.
It's a real tool. It's a tool to help our students. It's a tool to make us innovative and cutting edge and continue the amazing success we've had this past year. It will just give us all the tools to continue that.
Yeah. You've done all of these new programs and things. I'm just thinking about, boy, if you would have had some of those dollars you could have probably helped a few things along the way, maybe a little faster.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even as an example, we're this close to get a marine manufacturing program off the ground. This week we filed for over $1 million grant from the Department of Labor. If we don't get it, that marine manufacturing program is delayed because we need money for equipment and to get the program off the ground. It's designed, the curriculum's designed, the state's approved it.
You just got to get the stuff to do the program, right?
The Port of Port Angeles has been extremely generous, and the program will most likely be located somewhere on the port facility site. It's just that all that startup funds that we just don't get funding for.
So there you go. Here's a great example. So let's get to that endowment so we can have some of that happening. And
there you go.
Anybody knows marine manufacturing is that's kind of a key industry around here these days. So
it's kind of mind blowing that we don't have one yet. I mean, we're looking at the water right out here, and we've got Bricks and Stabicraft and all these boat manufacturers right here, and they need a workforce.
Yeah, I was going to say, folks, that's jobs, and they pay well.
They pay really well, and with the housing constraints, those employers can't recruit from outside the area.
Right.
We want to grow our own. We want to train our own folks in these highly skilled, highly well-paid jobs, really good companies to work for right here.
Yep. Okay, so speaking of foundations and scholarships and stuff, you mentioned the 200 scholarships already, not done yet. Tell us a bit about some other things that have been going on with scholarship function, if you will, up at Peninsula College.
Yeah, so this same generous donor that's doing the match also is giving us funds to extend what we call our debt relief program. So if you went to college, Peninsula College, and life got in the way and you had to drop out mid-quarter, you'd be still on the hook for paying tuition, paying for your books, maybe a lab fee, maybe a library fee. There's just costs to going to college, and then that burden and that debt sticks with you, and it prevents you from being able to come back to college because you got to clear the books before you can re-enroll. Well, this generous donor is clearing the books for you. It's paying your debt.
Wow.
And it can be something as simple as a $50 debt that is the barrier for that student. $50 is a lot of money for some of our low-income students. That debt's cleared. And oftentimes it's higher. It's in the $1,000, $2,000 range. But with a very, very simple explanation to our financial aid department on why that debt isn't going to happen again, this donor will clear it for you, and you can come back to college.
All right. So if someone's had an inkling of getting back, they realize they may have something they should just contact your financial aid office.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And we can get them, we can get that cleared and get them into college because we understand life happens.
Yeah. And especially with the, the makeup of the student body at Peninsula College, you have a very diverse type of folks. I mean, it's not just your traditional high school kid out of high school.
Right.
You got lots of reentry students. You have people who have, trying to raise families at the same time, all of that.
Yeah, our average age is 28. Our students are working adults. Whether they're 19 years old or 29 years old, they're working adults and they have families. And we totally understand that life can happen and life can get in the way. And we want to do everything we can.
What a great opportunity, though. I mean, I think that's tremendous.
Yeah.
Some news had been made on this as well. We can get us up to date, but Olympic Medical Center and its foundation has been providing some scholarships as well. Fill us in on how that's happening and it's being implemented, right?
Yeah,
Even
this was so to the point of we totally understand that life gets in the way for students. We want to do everything we can to put our arms around those students to get those problems resolved so that they can stay in school. And the idea is the entire community is coming together to serve PC students on our campus. So that whole idea got elevated with an Olympic Community of Health grant. So the North Olympic Health Network, a mobile health unit, is on our campus once a week now, providing behavioral health care, telehealth right there on campus, in addition to a whole swath of other community-based organizations, from First Step Family Support, offering parenting advice and support on how to raise families. Healthy Families of Clallam County is giving free confidential support for domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse. League of Women Voters is helping people through influence through public policy if you want to have your voice at the state level. OLECAP is an amazing organization in our community that helps people with housing and other life issues. Peninsula Behavioral Health, doing mental health. I mean, the list goes on with the REAL team helping people in crisis. All of these support services are on our campus right now. Serenity House is helping people with housing. So the idea is if you are struggling, and the whole host of life issues that particularly strike low-income families who are more vulnerable, we can get you that support that you need so that you can stay in school.
Are they there every day on campus, or how's this working? I mean, if somebody wanted to access these services, how do they go about it?
Yeah, there's a rotating schedule.
Okay.
We have a dedicated office, and so these agencies are on our campus typically once a week, once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
We put out a weekly memo to say who's going to be on campus that week, or you can just swing by the office in our workforce office, and they can just tell you who's coming when, and you can get on a list.
All right. And that was my next question. If people are struggling, having some issues, they've got a spot they can come to begin with.
Yeah, and we specifically put this community-based office in the department that has a lot of funding sources for people who are needing to go back to work, people who've been laid off from work, people who are on food stamps. There's quite a few programs out there to help you get into school.
It's great. Wraparound services, as it's called. Has this been done to this level before at Peninsula?
No, not in any way. It was. We've done a couple things this past year. One, we raised the knowledge level of our employees of what are all these organizations, how do they all work? Every organization has their own little nuance of how they work. So now our employees know how they work, so we can do more meaningful referrals. And so prior to this past year, our knowledge base was lower. We couldn't really do meaningful referrals. And we would say things like, well, I think you can go to Peninsula Behavioral Health down the road. And now we've just really amped up the level of support. We can say, hey, Peninsula Behavioral Health is on our campus. So let me walk you over and have you meet with someone.
And again, we go back to the demographics of students who attend Peninsula College, not a traditional college student per se. They come with a lot of real life stuff going on with them.
They do. And every one of them knows that higher education is going to be the key to get them out of that cycle of poverty. So they've already found their way to campus. They've already made it through our own college bureaucracy that, exists. I wish it was less, but, reality is we all have our own bureaucracies. They've already managed their way to navigate all through that. So let's help them stay in school so that they can get out of that cycle.
Absolutely. Wow. Lots going on always up at Peninsula College. What's, we've already said a couple of what's next, but give us a little bit of your horizon here heading into the 2024.
Yeah, so school year is off to a great start.
Yep.
The parking lot's full. Students are parking on the street. It's really...
Which is kind of not a normal... this hasn't happened for a while.
It's been a while. COVID certainly decimated the parking lot for a while.
So your numbers are still up. We talked last time, and you were saying, it's looking pretty good. So that it's hanging in there.
It is. So the number, you can always crunch numbers different ways. The number I like to point to is 16%. We are 16% above where we were last fall in 4-credit state-funded programs. The programs that we created, the programs that we have the most control over their success, we're 16% up, which is really
great. That's great.
Yeah.
Right.
And all indication shows it's going to keep on going.
Okay. With that said, you got another term starting pretty soon. So people, if you can jump in January. You don't have to start in the fall.
You really can. There's plenty of opportunity to start in January, and now's the time to come apply for admissions, meet with an advisor, get your financial aid sorted out, and be ready to go in January.
All right. It's still a great bargain. It's one of the best. I'm biased. I know. I went there, but it's a beautiful, great college that provides some wonderful education.
It's
and
amazing.
Right here.
It's amazing. Yeah. The faculty and staff care so much, and the classroom experience is just absolutely top notch, and it's just a really great place to go and experience a better life.
I always call it kind of the biggest little college you'll ever find.
Right.
All right, Susie. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking in a few weeks again about new exciting things because you seem to be rolling them out almost weekly up there at Peninsula College. And if you've not been up there to visit the campus, go up and take a look because it's just gorgeous.
It is.
Especially this time of year because the leaves are changing. It's kind of nice up there.
It is. It is the most beautiful community college campus in Washington State. I've seen all of them, and I am biased, but I would say that even if I didn't work
I
there.
think you can say that even though it's your college. You've been to them all.
It's just a beautiful place to go for a walk.
Yep, absolutely. Susie, it's great to have you.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, we'll chat again soon. To Dr. Susie Ames, who's the president at Peninsula College, and we get her in to talk about things happening up at PC about once a month or so, or as things warrant, with new exciting programs. We're going to take a break and check in with some news and some other things here. And then in the next segment, we'll talk with a local author who's put together a new book called The Loop Hikes in the Olympic Mountains. A very interesting book. It has lots of great pictures in it as well. We'll chat about that next.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
Do you know when your septic system was last inspected? Clallam County Environmental Health keeps those records and can tell you. Pumping your septic and complete septic inspections by licensed professionals are two very different things. State law requires inspections every 1 to 3 years, depending on the system you have. Get more information about your septic system and inspection requirements by calling Clallam County Environmental Health 360-417-2258 or by logging on to clallam.net/septic.
November means we're in the home stretch of another year. This is Dale from Wilder Auto, and November is a time of changing seasons, and if you're in the market for a 4x4 or all-wheel drive crossover, SUV, or pickup, we have the biggest selection of those vehicles on the Olympic Peninsula. Plus, every vehicle we sell includes the Wilder Advantage for peace of mind and lower cost of ownership. So as we head for home, stop by and check us out at 24/7 at wilderauto.com.
Medicare open enrollment is here October 15 through December 7th, and if you're like most people on Medicare, you have questions. The statewide health insurance benefits advisors, known as SHEBA, can help inform you of your Medicare rights and options and see if you qualify for help with cost. SHEBA is a free, unbiased service provided by the Washington State Office of Insurance Commissioner. Get help today. Call SHEBA 1-800-562-6900 or visit insurance.wa.gov.
Hi everyone, it's Leslie Robertson from the Port Angeles Chamber, and I'm here to tell you about a couple of really big events that are coming up. First of all, the nominations for the Port Angeles Community Awards will be opening on November 15th. This is a chance to recognize all the people, businesses, and organizations that truly made a difference in the past year and beyond. So start thinking about who you'd like to nominate. Anyone can make a nomination, and you can nominate as many as you'd like. Again, those will open on November 15th, and you can find the nomination link on portangeles.org. Also, we're ramping up for the Winterize Village, and we would love to have your business club or group do a takeover. That's where you take over all the staffing positions at the ice rink. Everyone who works gets a free skate ticket, and we promote you on social media and at the rink. If you're interested, please email Leslie at events@portangeles.org. We also have sponsorships available for both of these events, and for any other information, you can always visit winterizevillage.com and our website, portangeles.org.
Coming up in our next segment after we check the news at the bottom of the hour, Timothy Pascal, who's out with a new book, Loop Hikes in the Olympic Mountains. We'll chat about that. I think of keen interest as we look up there at the beautiful mountains and ways you can explore with an amazing new book from a local author. And we'll chat with Timothy Pascal right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Would you like a beautiful new bathroom for the holidays? Hi, I'm Ursula Royteen for locally owned Bath Fitter. Bath Fitter just transformed my bathroom, and they can do the same for you in as little as 1 day. Get a new bathtub, safe walk-in shower, or tub-to-shower conversion now and pay 0 interest and make 0 payments until 2025. For nearly 40 years, Bath Fitter Northwest has done 40,000 local remodels. Hurry and book now and have a gorgeous new bathroom for the holidays. Go to bathfitternw.com.
When every second counts, you need the best care. Olympic Medical Center's emergency department is making significant updates to ensure you receive faster, more efficient care. A streamlined process means you'll receive expert attention from our healthcare team starting the moment you're triaged. OMC is also the only Level 3 trauma center on the North Olympic Peninsula, meaning we're prepared to quickly handle true emergencies and traumas when they arrive. Learn more about what we're doing at olympicmedical.org/emergency updates.
Something astounding awaits you at McCrory Carpet One in Sequim, Port Angeles, and Port Hadlock. All McCrory Carpet One showrooms have been remodeled, revamped, reorganized, and are even better and more luxurious than before. Bigger displays, more options, updated styles, colors, and trends. McCrory Carpet One is the #1 place on the peninsula for any and all of your flooring needs. Check out their beautiful new showrooms in Sequim, Port Angeles, and Port Hadlock.
Washington State News Network, I'm Rob Francis. Reports of potential lead poisoning from children's fruit pouches have prompted the FDA to issue a warning. Almost 24 children in 14 states, including Washington, became ill after eating apple cinnamon puree pouches made by Wanabana, Schnucks, and Weiss. They say the pouches might contain elevated levels of lead. People are now being told to throw out those potentially contaminated fruit punch products as a precaution. A school bus driver in Thurston County being charged with 4th-degree assault after allegedly striking a 6-year-old child. A video of the event shows the school bus door close. The driver approached the child and smacked his back. The driver has worked for the district for roughly 3 years and was placed on leave during the investigation. He's been reassigned on conditions he go through retraining on proper forms of discipline and retaking the driver training program. If convicted, he could face nearly a year in jail and a $5,000 fine. The death of a 52-year-old Yakima man has been ruled accidental by investigators. Yakima police began treating the discovery of the man's body as a homicide investigation, but a report from the county coroner after an autopsy was conducted determined the death was accidental. The man's body was found at the bottom of an overpass of Interstate 82 in Yakima. It is believed the man simply fell off the overpass and that the fall was the cause of death. For more on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app or visit our website, WashingtonStateNews.net.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. Partly cloudy this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 47. Northeasterly winds around 5 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies again tonight. Lows level off around 35. Partly cloudy skies tomorrow. High temperatures reach up to 46. Temps near average Friday and Saturday with highs in the upper 40s. Chance for scattered showers Saturday. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 47 degrees.
All right, always fun to talk with local authors, and we're going to spend a few minutes next talking with Timothy Pascal, who's from Squim, and is out with a newly published book, Loop Hikes in the Olympic Mountains. And we were just chatting before we went on. I said, "Are you ready for this?" He said, "Well, I've been spending 7 years talking about it, so I'm certainly ready." So this has been a book a bit in the making, and Timothy, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
Glad to be here.
So tell us a bit, because you have quite a history. I mean, you've done a lot of growing up around here and hiking and things like that, and I guess it just made logical sense.
I grew up in Bremerton, and when I got out of bed every morning, the eastern flank of the Olympic Mountains were right out my bedroom window. At 11, I joined the Boy Scouts and went on my first hike, and I never quit thereafter. When the Boy Scouts didn't have enough hikes, some of my buddies, also part of the Boy Scouts, decided that we could convince our parents that they could just take us up and dump us off on a Friday and come pick us up on a Sunday. Later in life, my mother explained to me how tense she was with all of that.
I would imagine.
However, I wasn't aware of that, right? And we climbed mountains in the winter. We did all kinds of things, skied, snowshoed, hiked. It was a different time then. The number of people in the park in 1958 were a fraction of what is up there every week of the hiking season. A quick one. Nobody's up there. So there are 5 of us, and we're hiking down the Duckabush, and it's a hot day. So we just drop our packs and just go skinny dip in the river, right? We're no more than in there, and I turn my head around, and here's about 20 Girl Scouts all snickering, so on and so forth. Yeah, and there's a limit to how much you can spend in that cold water.
Right.
Yeah, at any rate. So first rule, keep your pants on.
Yeah,
right.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. It works better.
How did you develop the book? When did you, it's a great book. It has lots of ideas. And this, I think, is something for people who've never hiked and people who have hiked a lot, I gather.
I set out by beginning to describe my hiking and that sort of thing. I gave that up after about 2 years. Sort of pitched it in the waste paper basket and said, no, that doesn't have the right feel to it. People who need this information don't need my information so much as they do need opportunity to what they could do.
Right.
And so I started writing the book with the feeling that there has to be something in there for everybody. A newbie ought not to get scared away from all of this. And a veteran hiker doesn't have to just shoo this aside because there isn't a challenge there for them. They've done all of these things, so on and so forth. Which brings me to the last hike in the book.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's ever hiked that loop. The Grand Loop of the Olympic Mountains is a collection of segments of other loops all put together to make it a 309-mile loop. And yeah, I haven't talked to every person who's ever hiked, but I certainly have talked to a lot of people, and they haven't any idea of anybody who's done that. I've known 2 people who've hiked all the trails, but not all at once.
Got it. Yeah. 42 days, 65,000 feet of elevation.
Yeah.
I'm just reading the little bit of a description here.
That's twice up Everest and twice back down again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
In your own backyard.
Well, maybe so.
Yeah,
right.
I think that illustrates, though, and you've divided this up. It starts progressively, short day hikes you have to start with a number of places, and that'd be, a newbie might take that up and say, okay, I can handle that. It's a few hours out. We can do a nice little loop.
Well,
all the way to this one that you
The
talked.
introduction to the book speaks to people about you can only know what you know, and what you see in yourself can be challenged on a trail. And so my suggestion is pick something that you think you're capable of and go give it a try. If it works out really well, you could probably pick something a little more stiff than that. If it doesn't, don't give up. Just simply back up a little bit, do some hiking at a little lower level.
Yeah.
By the end of the season, I bet you can do the one that you couldn't do at the beginning of the season quite easily, which sets you up for don't lose yourself over the winter. Continue to walk. Going up and down stairs. And in Port Angeles, there are plenty of stairs to go up and down. At any rate.
So you're ready once that thaw happens and you can get back out there.
That's
again.
right.
Yeah.
How
do you describe for us how, each of these hikes, how you present them in this book for folks?
Well, we've already covered the fact that they start in the shortest ones, which is just shy of 2 miles, up to the longest one. What I tried to do is to stack the loop hikes on top of one another. The initial ones are day hikes. And if you are a, again, seasoned person, you can probably do even one of the 2 or 3 day overnights in a single day. However, I make a comment in the book that there's something more to going on a hike unless you are all Pachysaurus Rex and you got nothing to do except get from here to there as quickly as you can.
Right. You may miss a lot with doing that.
I think you're missing a lot.
Yeah.
And so as I write the book and I develop these things, I also introduce the hikers to the environment that they're passing through. Because rock and rubble under your feet isn't exactly something that you went looking for, right?
Mm-hmm.
No. Mm-hmm. You want to look out and see the world from high ground or low ground, mountains, lakes, rivers, animals. And you got to be able to turn your engine off and stop and just breathe the air. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing. And the fact of the matter is there's no contest involved.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's ever gotten a prize for finishing first on a hike like that.
Yeah. It just,
maybe they have, but not in my world. Speaking of which, you have this book's loaded with some great photos in there. You try to kind of literally illustrate some of what you're just talking about. Here's what you're going to see out there.
None of the photos in the book are mine. That's not true. There's a picture in the very beginning that shows me at age 11 standing at the door.
That's it,
My
right?
mother took that. I didn't take that picture. But all the other photographs in there are from Olympic National Park. Mm-hmm. I asked them if I can peruse their archive of public domain photographs, and that's where I got all the ones that I needed for the book. As a matter of fact, I had about 10,000.
I'm sure you had more than enough.
Oh yeah, right.
It's just what do you decide to put in? Do you have a favorite hike out of these? What's your? If you had to pick one,
I do have a favorite hike.
Okay,
and it is the Dosey Wallops Gray Wolf Loop. You start at the you're 6 miles now out on the Dosey Wallops Road because it fell in the river and they haven't fixed it yet, nor I'm not so sure that they ever will. But at any rate, you come up to the Dosey Wallops campground. That's the first stay. Or you can push on another 1.5 miles and stay at Dosey Forks. But whatever you do, you go up the main Dosey River, not the west one, but the real one, kind of a thing, and up to Deception Creek. That's one day, about 7 miles, a little more than that. You get up the next morning, and you need to do that early to climb up over Gray Wolf Pass, because you have the advantage of Mount Deception sitting up there, acting as a sunblock early in the morning. When the sun comes out from around that, it is a it's like a reflector oven.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get you up there, as far up there as I can, and we'll take a big break at the top.
Uh-huh.
Then it's down the other side and down the Gray Wolf, all to Three Corners, which is basically down in the bottom below Blue Mountain kind of a thing. And what you're going to do is do a switchback, if you will, because you're going to come up the Cameron Creek. And now you've got the river on one side and the creek on the other with a huge range in between. So you wander up the creek, and 2 days later, you end up in Cameron Basin. Gorgeous. It is the Disneyland of the Olympic Mountains. It just is. It just, you never want to go home kind of a thing. However, the next day requires that you scramble up all of the scree to go up over Cameron Pass. And when you get to the top, it's an entire different world on the other side of the pass because it hasn't been eroded. It's just rolling down in meadows. You go through those meadows for about 3 miles on your way to Lost Mountain. And just all kinds of flowers were out the day I was doing this, which is part of why I liked it so much, kind of a thing. When you get to Lost Pass, you need to take a break because you are going to drop a little over 1,000 feet in a little less than a mile. And going down is always 10 times as bad as going up, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. At any rate, when you get down there, you're just steps away from Dosey Meadows. What a glorious place. And I suggest that you build in a day where you're not hiking anywhere. Well, let's take the word hiking out of it. You're not backpacking anywhere because from Dosey Meadows, you're about 2.5 miles from Thousand Acre Meadow, which is one of the biggest meadows in the park. You could get lost out there for a week and never get tired of it. And if you got enough time, press on up to Hayden Pass and get some really good views to the east and the west. Back to Dosey Meadows, back down to the car at the end of the road.
And there's your loop.
There it is. It's beautiful.
And I had you describe that because that's how you lay it out in the book.
Right.
I mean, if somebody were to read that in there, it'd be almost as you gave that narrative as to here's how you do it. Complete with make sure you get up there before the sun gets around the mountain in places. But these are important things that perhaps only a local actually knows, somebody who's actually done.
One of the other things that makes it my favorite one is you don't have to carry your own water. You know, there are hikes where you've got a day or two that are dry days. You got enough load on your back without carrying, a pound to a pint of water. And it takes a lot more than that to get through a couple of days of hiking, kind of a thing.
Where can we get this book? Folks who want to pick one up?
You can pick up the book at Pacific Mist.
Okay.
Port Book of News. You can do it at the Nature Center on the Dungeness.
On the Dungeness River, right?
Kind of all of those are on there. Eventually, by the time next season comes around, I think they will be on the shelf at the Visitor Center.
Okay.
That process in making sure that the book is right and so on and so forth is months long.
Right.
But they've been into it for about 3 or 4 weeks. So
you got a good shot at it.
Yeah, right.
I think so. This would be a great book to pick up for maybe a holiday gift for somebody that might be a hiker in your family, I would think.
It is.
Study up during the off-season.
It's a wonderful gift. We have sold more books to people who are my age, where backpacking is more like day packing. That's about all I've got left in me. The knees, the feet, the whole thing.
The days of hundreds of pounds are done.
Right, but I still use the same approach, and that is I go until I don't want to anymore. Usually sit down, enjoy the view, have a little something to eat, and then stroll back out, kind of a thing.
What a great approach. It's a fabulous book. Thanks for writing it.
I'm glad to do it. If you look at the signature on that first page, you'll see that it leads with a number, 141.
Okay.
And so for everybody who's listening, 141 is the number of years since everybody's had the opportunity to write this book, and nobody has. 1882 was the first writing done by the military surveyors on behalf of the government, because we had won the Pig War, and Washington Territory was going to be the U.S. of A. kind of a thing. And that was the beginning, 1882.
I was going to ask you why 141 was on that signature.
There you go.
Thanks for this story. All right, Timothy, Pascal, it's great to have you in. We'll get you back maybe closer to the season. I think it'd be fun to visit and get people excited.
Anytime you call, I'll come running.
Absolutely.
All right.
Or hiking or day packing or however you want to call it.
Thanks for having me here.
Thanks, Tim. It's good to see you. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more on our program right after this.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg is always adding to the list of things they provide to keep your vehicle looking brand new. The full detail shop is just one more service to check off that list. Not only will your interior and exterior shine, your engine will sparkle too. Red Carpet is also getting some winter upgrades, including new equipment in the manual bay and new vacuums. Call Kyle today and let him get you scheduled for your red carpet treatment Tuesday through Saturday. 360-461-0826.
Hey there, Dawn Riling from Olympic Hot Tub. Our holiday finance event is the perfect time to invest in your health and wellness with a hot spring spa. Enjoy terrific massage and saltwater therapy every day. Purchase by November 21st, and you'll get interest-free financing till 2027. The ultimate gift, a hot spring spa, is waiting for you during our holiday finance event. More at OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub. There's something truly special about family and friends coming together. At Foghorn Olive Oil and Wine Bar, we invite you to elevate those experiences with the perfect pairing of olive oils and balsamic vinegars. Visit us today and let's celebrate the beauty of family, the joy of friendship, and the love of food. Because when you share our olive oils and balsamic vinegars with your loved ones, you're sharing a piece of your heart. Foghorn Olive Oil and Wine Bar, where memories are made and flavors are shared. Cheers to you and your loved ones.
All right, welcome back to the show. We're going to spend the next segment talking with George Erb. He's secretary of the Washington Coalition for Open Government. We have George on to talk about a hearing that's coming up on Friday, expected to happen Friday afternoon in Thurston County Superior Court, where the case of Jamie Nixon and the Washington Coalition for Open Government versus the state of Washington is getting another hearing. They have petitioned against the state, challenging the legislature's new unannounced use of what's called legislative privilege, and that's really the center of all this, and it has to do with open government, public records, what you can and can't get and know about your state legislators and what they're doing. So George joins us to talk a bit about that. George, I guess first of all, let's talk about kind of the concerns that have led to this lawsuit.
It basically comes down, bottom line, that the key legislators in Olympia are claiming this new legal reason for keeping records from the public and the press. And I guess for a bit of context, this is only the latest in a series of moves that the legislature has made in recent years to make sure that more of their work is done in secret. If I can go back in history just briefly, back in 2018, the legislature passed a bill exempting itself from the Public Records Act. And if you recall at the time, there was this enormous public outcry statewide, and the governor ended up vetoing it. Then the next year, the state Supreme Court stepped in because there had been another long-running controversy where the legislature had insisted for years that the Public Records Act did not apply to it. The state Supreme Court shot that down in 2019 when it ruled that individual legislators are subject to the Public Records Act. Now we're come full circle. We're back to the legislature's latest secrecy claim, which, as you mentioned, is legislative privilege.
It's rather amazing. This is pretty, and it's pretty broad. Give us an example of what this covers right now. As far as they can put anything under legislative privilege, pretty much.
That's what they're trying to do, Todd. And even more disturbing is that the definition of the concept keeps changing. Like last year, the House staff told legislators that legislative privilege covers communications regarding the development of legislation. Well, think about that. I mean, that could be anything that somehow touches lawmaking. Fast forward to now, when we're in court, right now the state's law firm is now arguing that lawmakers can use legislative privilege to withhold records of internal legislative deliberations concerning bills contemplated or introduced. I mean, that too could be just about anything. It's an incredibly broad concept, and it's completely unprecedented in Washington State.
And one of the arguments I know that the state has made in this is, well, we need to protect our constituents. We need to make sure that their addresses and their, if we talk with somebody about proposed legislation, we don't want to have people know where to find them or track them down or call them and that sort of thing. I would assume you would argue there's a workaround to that. You don't have to put everything in the box, so to speak.
You don't have to put everything in the box. And the Public Records Act has hundreds of exemptions, and some of them cover issues like that, matters of privacy. Our medical records are not subject to disclosure under the Public Records Act, for example. So there's already statutes on the books that cover that. But this legislative concept, legislative privilege concept that lawmakers are pushing now is incredibly broad. It covers everything. And the reason that we are alarmed, and alarm is the right word, is because if this concept is allowed to be put in place, it could basically sweep an enormous amount of the legislature's work behind a curtain. And voters would not be able to see it, and the press would not be able to see it.
George, you illustrated that this has been going on with a couple of rulings. I mean, you had a veto of the governor, you had a state Supreme Court ruling in this well, and then the legislature, still comes back with another effort to try to, hide its work away. That seems a little bit nefarious to me.
I honestly think that the model that they want to have is that they can do most of their work in private among themselves, and then when they have completed a draft bill, then they can trot it out to the public. I think their model of the legislature is kind of like it's this private club where they can do their work among themselves, and then the public can find out later. But that's not the model of government that we have. That's in Washington State, as in the United States, the highest political authority is the citizens and the voters, and they need to be able to see how policy is made and what their lawmakers are up to. Otherwise, how can they hold them accountable and decide whether or not their elected representatives are acting wisely on their behalf?
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't matter where you come down on the political spectrum. I think everybody ought to be concerned about this thing. I don't think there's anybody as a citizen that would want this to happen. That's what surprises me, that this legislature continues to go for it.
They've been really steadfast on it. We talked about the passing legislation in 2018, the insistence that they were already exempt from the Public Records Act until the Supreme Court said otherwise. This is basically the latest installment on what is a long-standing story in Olympia, where the legislature is trying to hide more and more of its work from the public and the press.
All right, before we run out of time, George, what do you hope you get with this ruling from a judge? What is the ultimate outcome for your group, at least?
It's what's happening on Friday is really is going to be the starting point for us. We assume that this is going to end up going up to the state Supreme Court. Obviously, we would be delighted if the judge were to rule that legislative privilege is, as the state defines it, is not a thing in Washington State. But we're also fully aware that no matter the outcome on Friday, it's probably going to go to the next step. It's going to go to a court of appeals, or it might end up going directly to the state Supreme Court.
This will is this in effect then, this coming legislative session, this legislative privilege? Is it, or do you get a stay, or do you try to get that so that this doesn't get enacted?
Today, Todd, it is it is sort of in effect because of a lower court ruling that we had last month. It was a different case, a different judge, and in that case, the judge issued a finding from the bench that legislative privilege is a thing in Washington state. So we have a separate court challenge. We're going before a separate judge. Obviously, we're hoping for a different outcome.
Well, we'll keep an eye on it. George, thanks for joining us.
It was my pleasure talking with you, Todd.
That's George Erb. He's with the Washington Coalition for Open Government. Big hearing coming up 3 p.m. Friday in Thurston County Superior Court on, as you heard there, kind of the chilling of public records and access, if you will, to our state legislature. We'll take a break and we'll wrap things up after this.
Sail away to Victoria, BC on the Coho to see the magic of Christmas at the Butch Art Gardens. Stroll through the 12 days of Christmas displays with nearly 1 million twinkling lights from December 1st through the 31st. Overnight packages from $169 USD per person based on double occupancy. Packages include ferry fare, a hotel stay in Victoria, and admission and shuttle to the Butch Art Gardens.